to have a broker, and do you serve as my broker
Yes.
in whatever state I'm in? And what do I, how does that relationship work in the non-Follow Me Realty world, and then how is yours different?
Okay, so the traditional brokerage, the brick and mortar brokerage, the Keller Williams, Berkshire Hathaway, Howard Hanna, and all of those, I believe Howard Hanna does it just like all the other ones, and Long and Foster. I'm still trying to get acclimated with the real estate here. But basically what you do is you pay 3 fees, and you have to have your real estate license. You go get your real estate, you take your state exam, you apply and all of that stuff, and then afterward you have to be with a broker here for at least 36 months, but in Florida it's for 24 months, before you can become a broker yourself. So you have to practice continuously for 3 years here. And then you get to hang your license somewhere else, or you get to become a broker if you choose to. But the way that we are is just like any other brick and mortar, where we offer real estate services. You hang your license with us, and we give you your coaching, et cetera, et cetera. You go to the closing table the same way. Everything's the same. We are a real estate brokerage, except we offer more for less, and we have the opportunity to do that being online. So we have very little overhead, and we can acquire anyone within the state as long as they are part of the boards that we are a part of. So for right now, so far in Florida, for instance, we are part of Miami, which is a huge population, Orlando, Central Florida, and Tampa. And that's where we've gotten so far. Now we're coming on over to Virginia, and then we'll be a part of Hampton Roads real estate as well, and then potentially go up. We didn't choose Virginia in the beginning though, because this is number 9 state, so there's not as many agents, so it doesn't go as quickly. So for an online platform, it just wasn't one of the first choices. But as an agent, you would be able to hang your license the same way as any other brokerage.
You have to be licensed as a broker in each individual state, and the agent has to be licensed in that state.
Right, or have a broker of record. So as we could have someone be a broker of record in Virginia and just practice the real estate aspect, running the brokerage. So if someone else here in the state of Virginia was a broker and they have their broker's license and they don't have their own company, they could actually serve as the broker for Follow Me Realty, but they would just kind of be like a silent partner of sorts. Or I would get my license here as the broker. So most brokerages, also to answer your question, have a transaction fee, a commission split, and a monthly fee. We, depending on which plan you go with us, will never charge a commission, but we'll either do just the monthly fee, which is $3.99, no transaction fee, no commission split, or as a new agent, because we understand not all agents can do $400 every month. Initially, we have a new agent plan and a developing agent plan, and it kind of fluctuates as far as what we charge. So $19 for new agents. At the closing, you pay $7.50 transaction. Most of that is going to be paid by your buyer or seller, but that's just the new agent plan to kind of get you going in the first 6 months. As well as the developing agent plan, you pay $99 a month, $4.50 transaction fee, and all of that is typically paid by the buyer or the seller.
Kind of took me a while to figure out what you're doing.
Yeah.
In fact, it only kind of came in right towards the end there. Can you give like a 1 sentence that says, this is what we are?
So Follow Me Realty is a online subscription brokerage for new and developing agents. And that's what we are.
Okay.
We're just like any other real estate brokerage in this sense.
And so you're acting as their broker, you're providing training, and you're providing branding and marketing.
We show them how to brand and market. Yes.
Okay, so that's not part of the package.
What's not a part of that?
The branding and marketing thing, the Facebook presence, the social media stuff.
Right, we show them how. So the biggest thing for us is we're not branding Follow Me Realty, we're showing individual agents how to brand themselves.
Okay.
So no matter where they go, whether they're with Follow Me Realty or Remax, they have a niche and people trust them for them and not because of Follow Me Realty's brand.
Yeah, and just kind of a follow-up question. You're operating in Florida already. What's your turnover been of folks who've come in and then leave? Is it only for the startups and the guys getting going, or is there a reason they're going to just say, hey, I'm with Follow Me, I'm going to keep doing it because it's just a great package of services, that kind of thing?
Well, we just started. So we got incorporated and everything in the last quarter of last year, and that was simply just the incorporation and the business licensing and all of that. We said before we go ahead and go all in and acquire clients or anything like that, and our clients are our agents, we really wanted to understand what new agents want, because I have my personal experience and I know a lot of agents there, but we simply wanted to make sure we did this right. As well as if we're saying we're going to offer a back end, a university, have it developed enough to be able to get on early customers. So about 6 weeks ago, we started a marketing email campaign. And so we've acquired, we have over 100,000 emails, and these are all new applicants within the last year in the state of Florida. Again, we just got here recently. But in Florida, over 100,000 emails for new applicants, and so we started an email campaign with the little money that we had in the beginning to just be able to market to a few people. That's gone over very well, and since then we've acquired 4 new agents. And 2 of them, when they started with us, they didn't even have their license. And you don't have to have your license just to do the new agent plan if you want to take advantage of basically the back-end training. But then once they got licensed, they hung their license with us, and now they're with us. So it's all very, very new. We're in the very early stages.
So how many agents?
4 so far.
4.
We have 7 people that have said, because of course we're going for people who aren't licensed yet, so 7 people that we already have their dates as far as when they're taking their exam, and they're going to join us as soon as they start, and they get their real estate license.
So is this a contract? How long do you pay the monthly fee?
If you decide to hang your license with another real estate brokerage, it's as simple as an email, and then we cancel it, and then you start elsewhere. So we just deactivate the license.
So there's no contract, it's monthly?
There's an independent contractor agreement, but it's not for a specific term. They don't have to be with us for any amount of time.
I'm confused about, when I worked for Long & Foster a number of years ago, that as an agent, there were certain things I could do, because only my brokers could do. The things about using of advertising and using their name and those kinds of things. So if I'm I'm confused out in Virginia, who would be my broker if I was the agent? Would I align with Rose and Wamble? Would I align with Long & Foster? So I'm confused about the individual who's an agent, who is not a broker in Virginia, how they would actually do business, because they have to have a relationship with a broker. And they have to use certain things with that broker that the state of Virginia requires.
So are you asking how they would transact business if they have their license hung with, let's say I was already
They have an
licensed here in the
agent's
state of
license.
Virginia?
They don't have a broker's license, so they can't they themselves cannot transact business. They have to transact through a broker in Virginia.
Right.
So who would be your broker in Virginia?
So theoretically, if we were licensed here in Virginia, and again,
Okay, so
we're
you're
just
not
getting,
licensed yet.
we're just getting up and running, right, so we just came
Example would be
over.
in Florida then, who would be
Yeah.
the broker in Florida? You
I-
would be, and you wouldn't have a physical location, they would work out of a home office.
Exactly. So it's an online real estate brokerage. So yes, here, if I had my license here, then they would do it the same they would with anyone else. So they brand themselves, but of course they'd have Follow Me Realty on their business cards and everything like that. If I were licensed here, they could do that. I'm licensed in Florida and they can do that. So we're expanding right now over to the state of Virginia.
Well, then they must be a little bit different in Florida, because what the broker has to do as far as branding can't be the agent, it has to be the broker. And then their location requirements, so, okay. So you're
Location.
still working on what you
No,
said.
no. So as far as branding, you always have to have your brokerage on your business cards, your advertising, no matter what. Now, that doesn't mean you can't brand yourself though. So for instance, when I was a real estate agent in the state of Florida, I was the Opera Realtor. All over everything, you saw my business cards and it said Remax, or it said Keller Williams when I was with Keller Williams. But I branded myself as the Opera Realtor, so people didn't remember the brokerage as much as they remembered me. They knew I was a real estate agent, they knew I did luxury, and that's what we're doing for agents.
Yeah, so what makes you competitive here? Obviously, I guess your commissions are flexible. Is that what I'm hearing you say? Since you're not splitting with brokerage, where do the commissions, in other words, that say I'm using you as a realtor, does that give you the flexibility to be less expensive than these other realtors? I mean, what makes you competitive?
Okay, so there are a few different questions here that I'll address. For one thing, as far as the commission split, no. So we don't charge any commission split to our agents. For 2, it's up to our agents to decide what their commission is. We never tell them you have to do 2.5, 2%, 3%. However, we do encourage real estate agents to not shortchange themselves if they are taking a lot of action toward a listing or a buyer. There is a lot involved in transacting a closing, from contract to close, from acquiring agents and all of that. So if they chose to do a lower commission, that's completely on them. We don't necessarily say you should or can, simply because they're getting a better rate as an agent, we just feel like that's the standard. You shouldn't have to charge a commission to be with a real estate brokerage and hang your license. But you can negotiate your terms however you see fit. You're an independent contractor. So you're not working for us, we're actually working for you as agents.
Are you handling their errors and omissions too, is that?
All E&O is covered with us.
Okay.
So you're just a virtual broker, basically. You're taking it from the physical location to the futuristic of where everybody's going
Exactly.
to online.
Well, the thing is, and we made it a point too when we started, we said, you know, what we noticed when I was in an office anyway, and all the brokerages I was a part of, I was more concerned, and other people were more concerned with what I was doing. And it was, you know, you'll see, like, for instance, I know when I was with Remax, they had sales rallies every month, and they said, this person made this much in sales and this much. We believe quite the opposite. We feel like you should worry about you, focus on your business. Don't feel discouraged because someone else is making more. They may be doing a completely different thing than you're doing. And I don't mean about strategy. I mean, we help you, everyone, with strategy. But they may be doing luxury homes and it took them 6 months to close that $1 million home and just got a $30,000 commission. So don't be discouraged. And that's why we have an online brokerage, so that way you don't feel like when you get into the office, everyone can hear your your phone calls. Everyone can hear you cold calling, and then vice versa. We wanted it to be where it's about you and no one else. It is your business. So that's why we did an online system.
Now that you're in Virginia, I assume you plan to get your broker license here in Virginia, and what's your time frame?
Well, we ended up coming here, trying to give you a backdrop because I'm from Virginia Beach. Like I said, I went to FC. But my family has so graciously allowed my husband and I to stay with them, so that way we can commit ourselves 100% to the business. So we did everything in Florida, but we were either going to have to sell homes ourselves, and we do not compete with our agents. We make it a point not to, or get a job. And I said, I really want to do this, and my husband wanted to go all in with this, but we have a 4- and 6-year-old at home. So we came to Virginia so that way we could have all the support, and boy, have we had some serious support being in the very early stages. So with Virginia, our thing was we needed capital to do it. We sold our home just to be able to invest into this company and move here. So we have given everything we had except for our car, and we almost sold that to do this. And so now we're in Virginia, and our time frame was, hey, well, as soon as we could get an investor to help us understand, or not help us understand, but help us raise capital, then we'd be able to expand to more than just Florida, but to Virginia. And so now we've been able to do that, so we expect to have everything up and running here by August.
Yeah, I understand you took out a lot of the overhead, but what I'm trying to figure out is what is the difference between a broker and an agent, because I really don't see that. I mean, a brokerage firm, yeah, you gotta pay all the overhead, but you've got the agents and you're making money from your agents.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that work? I mean, if you guys understand the brokerage, you're making money from those online subscriptions.
Mm-hmm.
So a person wants to become a broker and eventually becomes a broker and brings in agents, how do they make money from the agents? Or do they not?
Well, here's kind of a little bit of a breakdown of how it works. A real estate agent is a salesperson that has to hang their license with the brokerage, which would be Follow Me Realty. Then you have the broker, which is myself, and people can hang their license. So that's that partnership right there. You can be an associate broker. So let's say in 3 years' time you say, you know what, I want to get my broker's license. You don't have to own your own company. You can continue to practice with someone like Follow Me Realty, although we honestly encourage you not to. We say, go out, do your own thing, build your brand, because we want it to expand. So an associate broker, though, is someone who hangs their license still with Follow Me Realty, but they are considered a broker. They pay the same thing as any other agent. To be completely honest, it's more of a title than anything to say, yes, I've passed my broker's exam, but I still hang my license with Follow Me Realty. So again, we encourage, once you have the ability and you have the drive to do it, to leave Follow Me Realty and go start your own company. We really want to set people up for success, not keep them there, because there are agents coming in constantly, and they all need to learn the business well. So we want to continue to acquire new agents.
Obviously, you're competing with the traditional brokerages, but what other online competition do you have?
So there actually is, I'm just going to show you this. Okay, So the biggest competition we saw, and someone that as we were getting started, they were in their pilot year, is Join Real. Join Real, you can see over there where it says online. They are basically an online brick and mortar. And what I mean by that is they still charge a commission split. They don't charge any transaction fee or any monthly fee, but they're gonna take 15%. So that is the competition right there, but the thing about them is they are not for new agents. And almost none of these companies, actually, except for Keller Williams, offers new agent training. They're not for new agents. So they're very much, we researched them before we even started to see if it's something I wanted to do and hang my license before I got my broker's license. But the thing is, they're not for new agents. They very much hands off. They don't offer training. They don't offer anything except for an app, which is great. They offer an app so that way you can capture leads, which is something we plan to do in-house too. So those are the two. Now, or the first one, and the second one is K Company. They are more of a hybrid. They have a few offices in Florida. They're a little bit cheap, but their training is what every realtor has access to with the National Association of Realtors. So there's really nothing different about that company as far as what they give in-house. They're a cheaper brokerage is the best way to explain it.
Two questions. How many different sources of income do you have? And how is your training different from anybody else's?
How many different sources of income do I have personally?
No,
Or as a
no,
brokerage?
for the business, how many?
Oh, okay, well, it's all residential, so it's all sales, so you can help
Not from
buyers
us,
and sellers.
where is your income coming from?
Just the subscription.
It's coming
Is
from
it-
the
is it
subscription
only
and
the-
then if they have and I thought I had the slide here, but I guess I kind of breezed through it. The subscription, and then depending on what plan you're on, so if you're a new agent, you pay a $750 transaction fee. That's the only other source of income, transaction fee and subscription. There are no other hidden fees or anything like that.
There's a transaction fee at closing?
Correct.
So is that the same transaction fee listed as zero up there, or what's the difference?
Yeah, so the thing is, and forgive me, when I created this was actually when we had just one subscription fee, but then when we started to market and do email campaigning and cold calling new agents, we realized that new agents, although they loved our platform, and especially for millennials, it really wasn't a thing to be online. They said the only thing that kind of kills me is $3.99. Now, seasoned agents, they don't really bat an eye to that because that's a kind of a standard monthly fee. But for new agents, they said, that's a lot in the beginning. I'd rather pay something at closing. So we changed our structure and we added to it. So we said, okay, so for new agents, you can come on for the first 6 months at $19 a month. And then at closing, you would pay a $750 transaction fee. Then we have a second one where it's not as popular, but we still offer it, $99 a month and then $450 transaction fee. But the cool thing about that one is your transaction fee is covered. Most of the time, it's going to be covered by your clients.
A couple questions. What's the $200 monthly passive income program?
Okay, so I totally forgot about that. Okay, so if you are we call it the Massive Action Plan. So the one that you see right here, that is $399. If any agent signs up for this plan, you will be able to make whatever half, and of course that's after taxes, like $197 or so, you make half of whatever we make for any agent that you bring on the developing agent plan, which is $99, and the Massive Action Plan. So if anyone signs up for one of those two plans and you have referred them to Follow Me Realty, you make half of that per person every month. So let me explain what that means. So let's say you are on the Massive Action Plan of $399 a month and you just brought on 5 agents. You're making a little less than $1,000 per month every month.
As long as those agents are subscribed.
As long as those agents are subscribed. And let's just, of course, that's saying they're all a part of the Massive Action
So
Plan.
are you then, because I gave my mind wrapped around it. If someone decides, they came on, they decided, you've encouraged them, and they're now grown up in the business, and they want to become their own brokerage, and they split off and form their own brokerage, do they kind of use you as their training academy? Is that what's going on, or what happens?
Well, no, they would then split off. If they have their own brokerage, they can't be a part of Follow Me Realty any longer. They have their own real estate brokerage and basically do what we're doing as far as having other people hang their license.
But
Now,
why not structure, because a new brokerage starting out, would like to have their agents as efficient as possible to have training. Why not come up with some sort of a continuing education or a training academy, which will allow that other brokerage to take and subscribe to you, or their agents to subscribe to you as an academy.
Right, and so that's what I was gonna say. What they can do is they can create a team within Follow Me Realty. Anyone would be able to create a team, and what's awesome about that is if they're recruiting their own agents to come in, they're also making that passive income per agent. So they have their own way that they're structuring it, but they are getting the benefit of having Follow Me University on the back end and letting their agents access all of that, and they're also making money even without the agents transacting business. They're still making passive income, so to speak.
What's your revenue projections for the next 3 years, and how do you do it?
So for the next 3 years, I'm glad that you asked that, because actually what we intend to do is acquire 10% of the agent population within Virginia, Florida, California, and Texas. Now let's just take one state for example, because I'm the most familiar with Florida. They have about 151,000 agents in the state of Florida practicing real estate right now. So 10% of that is about 15,000 agents. So within the next 3 years, we intend to acquire 15,000 agents. And with it being such little overhead and it's online, we're very capable to do that. The only thing you have to do is be a part of the boards there. Now we're still trying to work out as far as the projections and how much money that's gonna be, but ideally, let's say everybody was a part of the massive action plan and it was all across the board, very structured and standard, the projections would be about I wanna say 6.9 million monthly if we had 15,000 agents all in the same plan. So eventually what we wanna do is kind of get everybody to get over to this plan, but again, because they're new agents, we understand that they need a little bit of a transition, so the first 6 months they can do the new agent plan. But yeah, we definitely want to acquire and consolidate the agent population, not just one by one, but also consolidating fragmented and fragmented brokerages, because there are a lot of brokerages who want to sell and a lot of agents that are willing to go online since they don't really come to the office that much.
Talk about your company's marketing. You said you had a mailing list, you had access to a mailing list, 107,000. You picked up, you've gotten forward of what you just launched. Who was that? How long ago did you launch in Florida?
In Florida,
Yeah.
we just started to acquire or market to agents about 6 weeks ago.
Oh, only 6 weeks ago. And how many, I want to know the ratio. You said you picked up 6 or 7, but that's out of a mailing of how many?
Well, we started with about 4,000, that's all we could afford on MailChimp initially. So about 4,000 agents, and then we took that to see how many people were clicking. We were going through all the CTR to see who's really responding to the emails and opening them. And then we started to cold call them, and from there we have 4 plus the 7 that are already basically joined, but they need to be activated as an agent, so they're still taking their real estate exam, so about a total of 11.
Why did you, one last question here. Why did you see this as a need out there? What really, was it your own experience? Was it marketing data? Was there a cry from the wilderness? You know, what did you see as a need for this?
Well, the first thing was personal experience. So I noticed when I was an admin, I was actually my husband's administrative assistant, so to speak, and again, everyone around me, they were real estate agents, and I saw that a lot of them, although they wouldn't say it out loud, they were a little bit lost with when they started. My husband the same, and then I thought, well, it can't be that hard, and I had been around it for so long, and then when I got my real estate license a few years later, and I was doing admin stuff, contract to close, sales is a completely different ballgame. I noticed there was virtually no one. They tell you what to do. Well, you have to do this, and you gotta hold an open house, but they don't tell you how. Like how, but literally, where do you go logistically? What websites do you go to say, okay, this is a great platform to cold call, and this is the conversion ratio, or this is how you optimize your Zillow leads. Don't just buy into it, but this is how you do it, and develop a niche marketing strategy. Don't just take any client that comes your way, because they might not like you, you might not like them as far as being a good fit, but you could find a great person if you have a strong network of industry professionals that you can refer them to. No one taught me how to do that. And then when we started talking to other agents, we noticed they were kind of like, no one wants to say it, but that was one of the biggest issues when they started. They said, I was struggling for 5 years. And as you can see, the retention rate is so low. I mean, 87% of agents stop after 5 years. And I think it's because of the foundation that they don't receive.
For future presentations, I recommend you start off with that.
Oh, yes, it was in the beginning,
I'm not saying it's your
but,
story, start
uh-huh.
off with your story right off the
Okay.
front. Because at the very beginning, like Jerry, I was trying to figure out what you were doing.
Gotcha.
But see, you didn't tell me this story that brought me in.
Uh-huh.
What was the need? What did you go through? You saw it. Now you're going forward, leading the charge. You're inviting me to collaborate with you, not trying to convert me to a sale. So if I just a presentation recommend, I would start off with something exactly what you did, within the same amount of time you did it in, and then go into it.
Gotcha. Okay.
That was the second part of the question that I asked you just a minute ago. Is how are you different in training-wise from anybody else in the marketplace? That's the one thing that I was looking for. You're socially valid for anyone who wants to be a real estate agent. That's taken care of. But you're not differentiated, not in my mind, not yet. You're starting to. I'm starting to hear you, but that's the point that people say, okay, I care, I need to find out more. But if they don't know that up front, if you don't make that patently clear, there's no reason to contact you. There's no reason to stay up with you.
Right. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. My better half is not here. I am the broker. I'm the real estate agent. I'm the number cruncher, the logistics. Leave me alone and let me work. But my husband, the partner, he is the one that will, like that, draw you in. So thank you for saying that, because that's actually why I'm standing here today, to understand how to talk to people, because I like talking, but sometimes I kind of get lost in, but you have to get this, you have to understand this, and not really explaining it in the best way possible. So thank you for your feedback on that. Yeah.
And we didn't give you too much time either. Only 6 minutes. Sometimes things slip away.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I kind of
Well,
ran off
actually,
with it.
that's my first comment from the get-go. You had me with your presentation, because it's beautifully, the slides are gorgeous, and it's very clean, and you did a great job with it. I know that our 6-minute thing is pretty stringent when you're used to just presenting maybe to other people and that kind of thing. So I just wanted to tell you, number one, that you got a really fantastic looking presentation with your videos, and it's great. But what does it take you to break even? What's it gonna take to, you moved up here, moved in with Mom, get on your own and just, before you get 15,000 people? What's the first goal?
So we had to start readjusting and seeing, of course, in a 3-year period, that's a very lofty goal, and we're fully confident we can do it through acquisitions and whatnot. However, in the beginning, we said, well, with the new structure, what can we do? So if we accounted for developing agents, we have a developing agents and massive action plan, which is what you see here. If we have a 10 to 15 ratio, if I'm saying that right, 2 to 5 ratio. So basically 10 agents on the massive action plan at $399 and 15 agents on the developing agents plan, which is $99 per month. We did a few different numbers, and I hope I explain this as best possible, but basically what we end up coming away with after our overhead, and our overhead's like $1,053 per month. It's like $1,083 actually, very low to operate with what we do. With that, for an entire year, if we started right now until next May 2018, with just 25 agents alone, we are making $87,000 after overhead and after taxes, give or take a few hundred. So it won't take long to do that. We already have 4 agents and 7 coming on, so we're very confident that we'll be able to break even and surpass it really quickly.
Great.
Do you reach out and touch them? I mean, the subscription, they're online, it's kind of, how much personal interaction do you have with these agents? Because, I mean, otherwise you're gonna lose them, just like, the average. 85% have gone in 5 years. They might be going a lot quicker if you're not reaching out and touching them in some way.
What's awesome actually is that we are really direct with all of our agents, and we expect to do the same thing. That's why initially we offered Snap support, because it's really immediate. And at first, I will tell you that there are people who aren't obviously on Snapchat, but when I said this is what we're doing, we'll have an in-house type of basically same system where we're immediate communication, we're right there. But so many people have responded so well to it. You have me immediately Within 5 minutes, you have myself or again, my husband to answer any questions you have. It could be an agent, a buyer, a seller, a broker, anyone, but our agents definitely take priority. So what's cool is that we've actually had more communication with our agents than, and this is coming from some existing agents, they said, than they've ever had with their original brokers, where you'd think you'd have more FaceTime if you're in the office, but to be honest with you, your broker is almost never in the office. They're never sitting there saying, hey, let me help you. And if you call them, and I have this from personal experience for more than one brokerage, if you ask for help, they are not there immediately, almost ever. So we actually have more one-on-one with our agents than most brokerages do.
That's something you probably want to emphasize up front too. That's what also makes you different. You're gonna have to hire a lot more people to be able to handle that. It's just you and your husband
Oh, yeah.
right now.
We always, and that's a good point, we always intend to offer it, even if we're bigger. We want someone there right away to answer any questions that they have.
What's an agent worth to you?
I'm sorry?
What's an agent worth to you?
What's an agent worth?
Yeah, because you're doing it $19 on some programs.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing it $400 on this, you're doing it $200, and you're throwing numbers around where your numbers don't match up. Like 25 agents doing $100,000 a year based on your numbers is one number, and then 15,000 agents at 6.9 million is $460 a month. I'm trying to figure out what's your agent worth to you every month. What's your agent bringing in revenue to you?
Well, our agents aren't bringing us, as far as revenue goes, again, we have specifically designed it so that way.
When your company is
they're-
getting revenue from your agent, what is that value of that revenue? What is that number?
Number-wise?
Yes.
Well, again, so short term, what we want to do, let's say we were projecting, so these are all projections. I can't
Yeah.
sit here and tell you, we're definitely going to get this. But our projections for short term is, even on the low end for 25 agents, that we will make net about 87,000 for that year. Now, long term, again, what we plan to do is acquire not just agents, but smaller fragmented brokerages, and with the plan being at where it was, $399 per month, then with 15,000 agents, that's over $6 million annually. So there's a short term, there's a long term. I mean, projections are projections. I could sit here all day long and tell you, hey, we want to make this or we want to make this, but as far as what they're worth to me, they're not worth anything as far as the numbers go. They're worth everything as far as understanding how to make themselves money. That's why we don't take a commission. It's more on, this is what you do
But
every
in
month.
building a financial model to get somebody interested, you have to have a value on what it costs you to acquire a customer. Your
Right.
customer is your agent.
Uh-huh.
You're losing 15% a year by national average if you're only picking up 85% every 5 years, go away. So you put on all these variables in an Excel spreadsheet, and you can run formulas on what your break-even point is,
Right.
minus your cost of you and your husband and all the things.
Uh-huh.
I was trying to figure out what value are you putting on an agent at 25 for 100,000? That's $4,000 a year. That's $360 a month. I was trying to see if those numbers line up. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out, you have so many different subscription models, you should come out in your presentation and say, we think this is what it costs an agent's worth in the first year, the second year, the third year, and this is what it costs us to acquire an agent. Because without those numbers, no one's gonna be able to forecast anything.
Cost to acquire an agent, to be honest with you, I've never actually broken it down like that. What I've done is cost to acquire agents up to, and what we have right now is up to 50 agents. So never on a, it's actually never been on an individual agent basis. It's basically, what would it cost to run our brokerage for just 50 agents, because I'm taking into account transaction management, all the things that we have to pay for every month. What would it take to acquire up to currently 50 agents, and that is $1,083 per month. So 50 agents, 1083. I'm not very good with this in my head, but it's
$5,416 or something.
so.
That's your cost to actually have the agent.
Yeah, but that's not
Right.
the acquiring.
What's your cost to go out and, how much does it cost you in marketing dollars to get one agent in the door? And how much do you make back from having that agent, you know?
Yeah, those are definitely numbers that would be great to know. I can't honestly tell you how much it is, you know, standing here right now, but I can tell you how much my overhead is, and I can tell you how much we project, and then how much we're gonna net based on 50 agents.
But you don't have to have the answers now.
No.
The purpose to be here at Million Cups is to hear the question like, wow, I never thought of that.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
yes, you go get the pencil out.
Uh-huh.
But you know, and those are, you know, it's good feedback to get, because then you can look at things from different angles. So as you make your decisions, you'll be looking at it from not just one projection, but also from these other numbers, and kind of put things together to make plans.
And that's the thing, like, we know real estate very well, but when it comes to the business aspect of it, we've got a board of directors that we've started to acquire together, so that way we can understand. We have a financial advisor, we have a chairman, we have people in place that are gonna help us understand more of that, and it's so new. So I could tell you all day about real estate, I could tell you about the market, but when it comes to that, that's why we have our 3 amazing board directors who are there to kind of guide us along the way. Even though it seems preemptive for most startups to have a board of directors, we do, because we intend to acquire.
So this is where my number question comes up, because if I was projecting something out, I would wonder, you want to get 10% 3 years from now in Florida. So where did that number 10% come from? Do other brokerages own 10% of, is that a typical percentage? Is that larger than what, I mean, where did you get that to project, and why do you feel that that's a good number to shoot for?
Yeah, this is what we did. We saw how many agents are existing, and then we saw how many agents come on every month. So again, everything until we moved here, up until just a few weeks ago, was in the state of Florida. So we noticed that there are about 5,000 agents every month, or 5,000 applicants to apply to get their real estate license. And so 5,000 times 12, that's about 60,000 new agents. So for us, we said, well, we're gonna do, again, it was just a number basically we picked. We said, what's 10%?
Yeah.
15,000. Do other brokerages do that? I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't believe so. I've never seen it where they've even gained that. There are a lot of smaller chains and franchises that all operate very differently, but as far as getting that amount of agents to all consolidate into one brokerage, I've never personally seen it before, nor have I seen it in the research.
Well, that's one thing I would recommend for you, is you're looking at your projections and trying to figure out how to do these numbers, is, you know, I think a lot of times new entrepreneurs will pick a number out, like 10% sounds like a good number, but I think you should try to see what percentages, what would be a realistic number, because sometimes 3% can give you huge payback. You know, you don't have to just go with, I think I'll take 10%, because it may or may not be realistic to do that. You don't want to base all your numbers on something unless you can prove that it's a realistic type of goal. That would be one suggestion, just to do that little bit of research of who's the biggest and what piece of the pie do they have.
Mhm.
And so am I gonna try to be like them eventually? Can I do that in 3 years, or might it take 5 years? I don't know. And how big is their slice?
Mhm.
Because then that's a realistic percentage of somebody who's got a foothold. I don't know, it's just a thought.
It's almost, you know, I'd say you really need 2 pitches, and this one kind of fell in between them. One is where you're pitching to potential realtors who are gonna come on board for your service, you know, the benefits and all that. And you need a financial pitch. If you're gonna go after investors, the numbers that everybody's talking about, you really need to have nailed, and they're not right now. So, you know, what are you basing your models on? What's the comparables out there?
Right.
Does anybody have 10% of the brokers in any market? You know, who are you fighting against? What's gonna prevent them from going, okay, we need an online version, taking their heft and, you know, doing the same thing and adjusting some structures. But answering those questions for the financial guys, if you're looking for investment, is gonna be really, really critical. And then, you know, and then the other one is the numbers. 87K is nice, but nobody's gonna invest in that, you know.
Someone has invested in that 30,000.
Okay.
And
Family?
so absolutely, I gave them concrete projections. Of course, I didn't show it up here, but we actually do have investors in the works of investing, and one already has, based on that one projection of 87,000 with 25 agents.
So it looks to me like you have 2 things you're focusing on. One, the training a new agent on how to be successful in the business. Is that correct?
Yes,
And the other
absolutely.
thing is that you're offering them a brokerage license to do business under at a lot cheaper rate than other people. It seems to me like those are the 2
Yes, to
things.
hang their license.
Now, In the training side of it, the brokerage side is obvious, it's less money, so I make more money in the end. On the training side of it, they want to know, how do I get business, how do I do this? So is your training formalized? Do you give certificates on it? Or is any of it accredited, assuming there is accreditation by real estate, like Hampton Roads Real Estate Association, and people like that, or what?
So, the National Association of Realtors and all the regional realtors, they do have accredited classes that you can take to understand more of the law and the best practices of being a realtor. So they do have those, and it's for anybody who is, part of the Association of Realtors. What we offer is specifically how to market yourself and how to write very basic things like your contracts and agreements, as well as your confidence and whatnot. So that's all a part of our Follow Me University system. As far as it being accredited, no, that's what the Realtor Association is for. So as far as all of their courses, you can earn credits for everything that you take with them. We take it a step further, where most brokerages, like you were asking, what's the difference between our training and other training? And to be quite honest, most brokerages don't offer training. They don't offer what we offer. The one that's ever come closest to it is Keller Williams, and they offer the very basic, like I said, how to hold an open house and all of the really basic things, but we take it up a notch and say, here's how you use everything you do, new construction showings, open house events, and use it to market yourself online and be credible.
Is it formalized though? I mean, it's
Formalized in the
this-
sense.
This is your marketing class, this class, so on and so forth.
Yes, and I'm sorry, I kind of breezed through it at the end, but yes, it is. So we have your foundation, your mindset, and your real estate. And so we have all aspects within those 3 areas, courses for all 3, where you know exactly where to go for what kind of training you have. Yes, it's on the back end system.
Did you create the training, or did you buy already a course packaged?
I created all of it.
Created all of it? Good.
Yeah.
I get a question, and then we'll move to wrap things up. Basically, you've talked a lot about the realtor and the broker and likewise, but you never touch base on the end user, the customer. Why would the customer choose a realtor involved with this type of operation versus another realtor? As a consumer trying to sell a house, getting the most I can for it. And then I have one other question after that.
Well, to be honest with you, buyers and sellers, okay, so let me tell you, I started, again, as the offer realtor. My husband and I use myself as a guinea pig, as a real estate agent, on how would we market to our buyers and our sellers? How will we gain traction? And so we show agents basically what I did for myself. We provide so much value to our buyers and say, we will look at all the pre-listings, all the make-me moves, all the for sale by owners for you, and take 10 times the amount of action on finding you what you need than anyone else. Any question you ever have, you ask me, I give it to you right away. What are the schools like over there? What's the crime over there? Here are all of the websites, and we give this to our agents as well. Here's where you go, this is what you do, this is research I found. Because of the fact that we help our agents so much more than a traditional brokerage, we're able to help our buyers and sellers that much more as well. With sellers, we will promote your home, we will make it more of a social media frenzy. We help you to create, or not help you, we do as a listing agent. We'll do this, we'll do this, we'll do this. We'll create a website for your home, and we show agents how to do that as well for free. We will create an entire marketing strategy for your home to list long before it even hits the MLS. Everyone's buzzing about it. So on both ends, both buyers and sellers, we're very big on helping the agents understand you are the authority. They won't want to work with anyone else because you give them so much value.
And then the last question is, what can the 1 Million Cups community do for you?
You guys have really done it. I mean, you've grilled the hell out of me, and I love it. Because again, it's not easy for me to be up here because I really am the one who, I put my headphones on, I ask everybody to leave me alone, and I work, but my husband's at home with the kids today, and he's the one that's really good with people. I'm the broker. So you guys have done just half of what I wanted. And then 2, if you know any real estate agents who are looking for a brokerage, you just really want to change, then talk to me. Go to followmerealty.me.
I think you've done a great job.
Coffee for you to get your next 999,000 cups. And personally, I love your business idea, and I love how you're doing something online, and it's a little disruptive, and it's got to be a new road that you're paving, so good luck to you.
Thank you.
Keep it up.
Thank you.
Any other questions?